Opportunity passed. Tell me about your mentality going in.
I told y'all yesterday, or day before yesterday, whatever the last time we played, that I want to kill everything in front of me. So once I knew we had a chance to sweep them, and why we want to go back to Minnesota?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Price Check Sports Podcast here on the In the Zone Network, where we go city to city, state to state, worldwide. We got some teams still clinging on to their basketball life. We got some teams going to Cancun. So let's get into it today. Of course, coming off of last night's Game 5s, we had three pretty good games all around. Started with Philadelphia and the Knicks in New York. Sixers stay alive in that one, get a big win behind Tyrese Maxey's 46 points. The Knicks, man, I picked them to win the series. I thought this was going to be a long series. But I also thought that they would put the 76ers away last night, and they definitely did not. Joel Embiid out there on one leg. Got to give him a shout out for playing through all the pain and everything that he's dealing with right now. Had a triple-double. Of course, didn't shoot the ball well, but still impacted the game on the boards, getting some assists. And then, of course, Tyrese Maxey putting up 46 points on the Knicks team that just had no answer for him whatsoever. So, Sixers are now down 3-2 going back to Philly for Game 6. And I think that they are definitely live for. And one thing that I'm concerned about, especially if I'm a Knicks fan, this is not the first game where down the stretch they've had some late game miscues and mistakes that have allowed Philly to stay in it. And of course, as you get into these, longer series, you go up 3-1, the team gets one game, that pressure starts to shift a little bit, especially now. Knicks are going to have to go on the road where, of course, in Game 4 on the road, the Knicks fans had kind of taken over in Philly. But I do think the 76ers are going to show some fight, show some life the same way that they did last night. Do I want to go as far as predicting them to win Game 6? Maybe not yet. I do want to see how Joel Embiid responds to all the minutes that he had to play last night. Played over 48 minutes with that game going to overtime. So I think the Sixers are alive. I want to see how Joel responds before predicting that one. But I called the Knicks in 6 or 7 to start this series. I still think that prediction stands, but would not be shocked if the 76ers can force a Game 7. So also you had the Bucks last night forcing a Game 6 after being down 3-1 to Indiana. They win that Game 5 at home behind some big performances from their vets. Pat Bev, Bobby Portis, those guys keeping things alive, Chris Middleton. And you saw Indiana start to show, that lack of playoff experience in this one. So, coming into this game, we know there's no Giannis. We know there's no Damian Lillard. If you're the Pacers, you got to put that game away. You got to find a way to put it away, not only to get yourself some rest going into the next round now that Philly and New York are going to a 6 game, but you also got to, make a statement and show that you belong here. Now you kind of open that door for a guy like Giannis, who's been, out the entire series and trying to fight his way back. Open the door for him to come back in Game 6 on the road. I imagine Damian Lillard is probably still going to be out the remainder of this series, looking at how that injury popped up for him in Game 4. But wouldn't be surprised if Giannis comes back and makes this, a series that can go 7 games. I do think Indiana still closes it out. I picked them in 6 also before the series started. Going to stand by that prediction, just not knowing what the injury situation is going to be for Giannis and Dame, but don't feel great about that pick right now, given how things played out for them last night. So our last Game 5 from last night's action, you had the Cavaliers getting a big win at home in Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead against Orlando. Evan Mobley, hell of a block to save that game on Franz Wagner. And I think this series is destined for 7 games now. Each team has won every game on their home court. Going back to Orlando now for Game 6. I do think Orlando wins Game 6 and sets us up for a pretty good Game 7 here, I believe, on what will be on either Saturday or Sunday of this week. So looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. I mean, Paolo was excellent last night. I believe 34, 36 points in that one, but Cavaliers able to weather the storm, showing some fight, not really folding as we probably thought they might have going into that Game 5. Now, talked about the teams that are still fighting. Got to talk about the teams that are now going home. You had the Lakers losing in 5 against Denver here on Monday. Unfortunately for them, the same thing as last year, man. The Nuggets are still just too tough, too hard to beat when it comes to clutch time in the fourth quarter. They're consistently getting good shots, consistently able to find a rhythm and find the right shot. And of course, when you got Jamal Murray, man, it just makes that thing so much more easy. He gets another game winner on the Lakers with 3.6 seconds left in that game. And of course, Lakers now going home with a lot of questions to answer. You don't know what the status of Darvin Ham's job is going to be going into this summer. Not really sure what's going to happen with LeBron James this summer, going into a player option that he has that he can opt out of. A lot of people are going to ask, hey, should LeBron leave? What is he going to do as far as trying to play with his son? At this point, and of course, this is me speaking as a Laker fan here, LeBron doesn't owe the Lakers anything. He's won them a championship. He's delivered on that. Whether you want to try to discredit the bubble title or not, still a real Larry O'Brien trophy that they rolled out in the middle of the court. Still a very real Finals MVP that he won in that Finals. Let the man be happy. If that means he wants to go elsewhere to play with his son, if that means he wants to go elsewhere to try to chase a championship. At this point for LeBron, whatever he wants to do, he's earned the right to do it. He's definitely delivered on his 6-year stint with the Lakers. Of course, you wish there was some more playoff success, maybe another championship in there somewhere, but it's basketball, man. Of course, he's also 39, soon to be 40 years old. How many years can you truly put the team or the responsibility of leading the team, and both on and off the court? How many years can you constantly put that on his back and his back only? Anthony Davis was great this year, but the role players did not step up in the way that they needed to against this Denver team, or at least as consistently as they needed to against this Denver team. So not holding anything against LeBron, not holding anything against Anthony Davis. Do I think they should also look at Rob Pelinka's job status if they're going to evaluate Darvin Ham? Absolutely. But, a lot of questions to come this offseason for the Lakers. I do think ultimately LeBron stays in LA and finishes out his career there. But, again, wouldn't be surprised if he decided to jump ship and go elsewhere. Not going to hold that against him if he does. So, of course, would have hoped for a better outcome against the Nuggets, but the defending champs are tough, and they're going to go on the rest of the way here in the playoffs and be just as tough for the next opponent, which happens to be the Minnesota Timberwolves now after their sweep of the Phoenix Suns. The Suns just didn't have enough at all throughout this entire series. Kevin Durant, of course, tried to put the team on his back in Game 4. Same thing for Devin Booker. Those two, I believe, combined for over 80 points. Still couldn't get the job done, man. This Anthony Edwards thing, man, of course, I just need to buy the jersey at this point. Anthony Edwards is everything that you want in a basketball player, and he's really having a coming-out party starting with this series against Phoenix. And I think this next series that they're going to have, you got Minnesota going up against Denver. That's going to be an epic one. And I put the prediction out here now. Whoever wins Minnesota versus Denver will, at the very least, represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. And I almost predict them to be the winner. Now, of course, you got Boston on the other side of that thing. We'll see how things play out for them with the Kristaps Porzingis injury. But I think what you have with Minnesota, the size that they have with Towns and Gobert, and then, of course, Anthony Edwards taking the superstar leap that he's taken. Then you got Denver on the other side, obviously the defending champs. They got the best player in the league right now, Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray having another great playoff performance as he's done the last few years. And you also got Michael Porter Jr. stepping up right now, giving them 20 a night. It's going to be hard to beat either of these teams, and it's going to be an epic series that they have coming up starting this weekend, I believe, on Saturday. So I got to give a prediction early on this one. I think I'm still going to lean Denver, but I think it's going to be a 7-game series. This one is going to be a dogfight. You got two teams that can defend. You got two teams with reliable go-to scores. Everything that you want in a playoff series is going to happen with Timberwolves Nuggets. So definitely looking forward to that one starting this weekend. Now, before we go on to the games tonight, you got Heat Celtics Game 5. Celtics looking to close that one out up 3-1. Mentioned Kristaps Porzingis injury. He's out with a calf injury. I don't think this affects them tonight. I do think the Celtics go on to win that game, but definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward. Because I think Kristaps Porzingis is what kind of gives that team a little bit of a superpower. When you take him out of that front court and you got to rely consistently on guys like Luke Cornett, starts to get a little bit dicey as the opponents get tougher. So still think they close out the series tonight in Game 5, but would not be surprised if that Kristaps injury starts to make things a little bit dicey for them in the later rounds. Then nightcap, you got Mavericks versus Clippers, a series that I predicted Mavericks to win in 6. Standing by that prediction also, Game 5 tonight. I think the Mavericks do win that one on the road in LA. And based on Luka Doncic's comments after the game 4 that they lost here, I think that Luka's going to come out with an epic performance tonight. So much so that we're going to add him to our parlay for the night. So looking at the games tonight, we're going to leave Heat Celtics out of this one. I think that one could end up being a blowout. And as we've seen time and time again, blowouts not good for our pockets, right? So parlay for this one, we're sticking just with Mavericks Clippers. We're going Luka and Kyrie both to get 25 points apiece. We're going to go with Paul George and James Harden to get 20 points apiece. Odds on that on FanDuel plus 226. So, of course, go ahead, get them parlay tickets in now. And hopefully we get to cash out. I know our last parlay did not go quite as well. Celtics, of course, the one game that we have bet on them in this series, they took the loss against Miami, led Miami go crazy from three-point range. And then, of course, the Pelicans got blew out in that one. They're also going to Cancun in this one, or Galveston if you let Charles Barkley tell it. So that'll do it for today's episode of The Price Check. Make sure you continue to like, share, subscribe here on YouTube. Also, continue to look out for our Throwback Thursday videos on TikTok. Got another one coming tomorrow. It'll have something to do with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So keep an eye on that one as well. Thank you to those who have already followed us on TikTok. We definitely appreciate it. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Josh Price. Check it out.